Good morning, everybody. And this will be a session on and for the urban living labs and case studies in REGREEN and Clearing House, a very central part of the projects. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are today with the knowledge we have. In this session, the partner cities and the urban living labs, we'll ask them to reflect on different types of impacts that our projects have had and what are the added values of participating in such a project. And that will include experience and insights. And we've got a wide range of sizes and scales of cities, from metropolitan areas of Barcelona and Paris to large cities of Krakow and Aarhus and towns like Velika Gorica in Croatia. So that really represents a wide variety of cities in Europe. We'll also discuss the future perspectives of planning, designing, and implementing nature-based solutions after our projects are over, including what processes, insights, tools, and guidelines and cities can recommend to other cities and towns. We heard yesterday, what was it, Paula, about 15,000 cities and towns in Europe? 1,400, yeah, and 20% of the land area of Europe is urban. No, I was talking about how many cities, but that's far more than that, yeah. So, but at least 20% of Europe's land area is urban. So there's a big need for the results and insights and advice from us. So I'd like to invite to the stage from Aarhus Municipality, Signe Iversen. Please come up and have a seat. So you're a geographer and urban planner working a lot on water quality in Aarhus in Denmark. Then I'd like to invite Eugenia Vidal from metropolitan area Barcelona. And you're an architect and urban planner. Welcome. Please take a seat. Then I'd like to welcome Gordana Mikulčić-Kranjaja, and I've exercised that name for quite some time. I hope I met the bar. So Gordana is a lawyer and a very central part in the center of NBS development in Velika Gorica. Wherever you like, thank you. Then I'd like to welcome Tomáš Bergier from the Krakow Living Lab and from the Zensimir Foundation. Very warm welcome. And last but not least, Gwendoline Grandin from Paris Region, an urban ecologist and very central to, for instance, developing this book on how to depave and renature in high quality. Great. Thank you very much. Okay. I'll just... Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. So, that's a good idea. Let's just get settled here. So we have about 5 minutes for each city to answer a question or two. And then that will hopefully not take more than half an hour. And then the rest will be open play for everybody in the room and if there are questions online. So I'll start with Aarhus. Signe, what advice do you have for other cities to engage on a journey towards better integrating NBS and co-developing NBS in cities?
Thank you, Marianne. First of all, before I answer the question, I will say that in Aarhus, even though we have worked with nature-based solutions for maybe 15, 20 years or more, we have not found the golden way of doing it. So when I'm advising, it's just some of the tricks and tools that we have found that works for us and that maybe also work for other cities. And I will also say that whenever I speak with a representative from other cities and hear how they work with nature-based solutions, I get really inspired and I'm thinking, okay, we should try that at home. But I will say that some of the things that we have experienced in Aarhus that is really, really important is to be sure that the NBS agenda is put on the top of the politicians' minds, to be sure that the politicians feel that it's an urgency. And how can we help as administrators? How can we help the politicians doing that? In Aarhus, we have worked with helping the politicians creating different kinds of strategies, strategic papers for greening the city, strategic papers for climate adaptations, and we have also started working with implementing specific targets in the strategic papers and in the plans, so that we ensure that the politicians are eager to turn back to the targets maybe every year to see how it goes. Are we on the right track and stuff like that. Talking about targets, we could definitely be better at implementing wise and qualitative and measurable targets that the politicians can adopt and feel are their own. But this is, I think, the main thing for us, that the politicians need to feel that it's important, and also that they have ownership to the agenda, that it's their agenda, it's something they want. And as administrations, we can help the politicians coming to that point. Another thing is the financing things. As you all know, we cannot make any kinds of nature-based solutions, nature projects, parks, anything, if we don't have the finance. And of course, there are lots of different means of financing. There are national funds, private funds, financing from the municipality, which can be really hard to achieve, and lots of other kinds of financing instruments. But what we have experienced in Aarhus, and this is specially coupled to making NBS as a means of reducing the risk from floodings and climate adaptation, is that you have to use your catastrophe. In Denmark, we have this saying about granting incidents. For example, if we have a huge cloudburst, which causes lots of damages, then we have experienced that if the administration is ready to help the politicians creating solutions very fast, then it's not easy, but easier to get the politicians also to grant money for the solutions. So therefore, an advice is to be, if it's possible, be a little bit prepared so that you can tap into the disaster, if you could say so, and then help the politicians finding the solutions, because all politicians are very eager finding solutions when the citizens are complaining about floods, of course. Another thing is to maybe if you can search your administration for other kinds of projects that you can tap into. It could be, for example, road projects, traffic projects, and then do some cooperation with the other departments to be able to create nature-based solutions at the same time as you're creating, for example, highways. We have some examples from Aarhus. We have an old one. We have a low-lying wetland area that has been drained maybe 70 years ago. And then during many years, the administration had wanted to make nature restorations there, but it was not necessary because the landowners, they didn't want to sell the land, so we couldn't. But then suddenly, the National Road Department was going to make a new highway just beside of the area. And then suddenly it became interesting for the landowners to sell their land. They weren't interested in having lands just beside of the highway. So the municipality got the chance to buy the lands, and then coupled with national fundings, it's 15 years ago, coupled with national fundings and a target in the Water Frame Directive, we got the possibility to create a wetland, which is now, we call it Lake Eo, and it's now actually one of the most well-visited recreational areas in Aarhus. And it's also a great spot for biodiversity and other nature-based elements. So this is an example of how you can try to tap into other agendas, other projects, and by that means you can finance nature-based solutions. We have one more example of that. A new road the municipality has been making the last couple of years, which were crossing a small stream, which was in a very poor shape. And then to be able to make the new road in a right way, we had some negotiation with the road department, and by that way we actually got them to finance a restoration of the stream. So I will say if it's possible to like navigate and to be agile inside your organization and tap into other agendas, then it maybe not often, but sometimes it's possible to find financing for nature-based solutions, both in larger scales and also smaller scales. And then the last thing I can say that as administration, I think it's important to work with your planning framework. So you have either it's the municipal plan, it could be a wastewater plan, it could be your nature plan, it could be whatever plan you are working with. But so you have an adequate planning framework that helps you direct agendas for nature-based solutions into specific areas. A short example of that is that with our last revision of our municipal plan, the politicians adopted what we call a green norm, and it's like a quality scale for when you're a developer and you want to make city development, you want to develop new urban areas, then you are only allowed if you can have a certain amount of points due to the green norm. And the green norm lists different green elements and gives them points or grades due to their green quality. So if you only implement grass in your new city development area, it will not be enough to get enough points. So the developer has to work with the quality of the green elements. It's based on the biofactor, as I think maybe most of you have heard about. But I will say overall, these are the three things that you can think of working with: the political agenda, making the politicians feel that they have ownership to the green agenda, and then the financing, and finally the planning, where as administrators we often have a great influence because it's the administration who makes the plans, and of course then the politicians adopt them. So these were my words. Thank you.
Thank you, Sinja. Let's go south to Barcelona. Eugenia, you have been working in one specific valley in Barcelona with Clearing House. Can you explain us in very short what is the area and what Clearing House did in the valley, in Llobregat Valley?
Thank you. In our case, I'm here on behalf of an extended team from the metropolitan area of Barcelona administration. And then we had the support as well of a research institution, CREAF. Corina is here today as well. And our living lab focused on the Llobregat River area. Here we have a nice picture, and I think you didn't really get the sense of what this river is about from the picture. It's a river very influenced by human activity, surrounded by major transport infrastructure, supply lines, and so on. Nevertheless, it's a river that has great potential in terms of green and social connectivity and in terms of biodiversity. And it's a key area in our green infrastructure strategy. So AMB has been working together with the related administrations and other stakeholders to recover this area, both from a landscape and from an environmental point of view, always seeking this difficult challenge between ecological values and functions and social use. And it's been a great opportunity being part of the Clearing House project, because it has allowed us to test new approaches, less top-down as an administration, more collaborative, and I think more experimental. Our first objective was to bring organizations and people from the territory to work together to create collaborative, collective knowledge in relation to nature-based solutions, especially those based on trees. This was the first objective. But then we wanted as well to create a network, to create synergies that could contribute to the future planning of the area. And I think we have done a very important first step. We managed to raise awareness. We managed to create some networks, some interrelation between different stakeholders, because we have a very complex governance in this space. So we start having people who work along the river sitting together and start talking. And we gather, I think, qualitative data and very good collective knowledge about the river area through two main tools, the co-learning workshops and the participatory GIS online platform. And this data and this knowledge, some of them is geo-reference, and we have started analyzing this data, and I'm sure it's going to be a great contribution to the future planning. But I think one outcome that personally I didn't expect so much, and I think it's great, it's the transformation of the administration itself. It's really a co-learning. First, I didn't get this concept, but I think we have started working more coordinated between different departments. Some reluctancy, I think we were able to overcome, even if there's a lot of work to be done still. And I think my advice would be that NBS implementation is a change of paradigm, and you have to be ready to change yourself as an administration as well. In our case, for example, a very important challenge is management. It requires another kind of management, more adaptive. Maybe it's less intense, but you have to be there all the time and reacting what is happening on the site. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eugenia. We'll now move further east to Croatia, Velika Gorica. Gordana, what legacy would you say that REGREEN has on your city?
Thank you, Marianne. I have heard someone say yesterday that we should put the things that about NBS and about climate changes into our curriculums in schools. So thanks to the REGREEN project and thanks to Sally, Gertrude, Mara, and Jeppe, we've seen how interested our schools are in learning about climate changes, about learning about NBS. So we have put in our curriculums for this year, and hopefully that will be in all the years after this, to learn about children that are 8th grade, that will be over with the elementary school, to learn about climate changes, to learn about trees and why they're so, why do we need them in our cities. And hopefully those children will learn what they should do and what they shouldn't do to prevail what is going on in our nature around us. That is one of the things that we learned from this project, but we have learned that all the VPs, all the activities that were made through the REGREEN project were compatible connected, let's say like that. And when we got the heat map from Ellen, Julius, and the others that were working on it, I think we already mentioned it, that was the surface temperature of the city of Velika Gorica. When we saw how high the temperature was, and when we heard what children said during the sessions, workshops in the elementary schools, which I mentioned before, they were asked, what do they think? What does the city need? And most of them, okay, they said, yes, we do need more asphalt, how to come to the school, but most of them also said that we need more green areas. We also asked, because of the heat map, we also asked people what do they think we should do in the city. That was the start of our work on a strategy of green infrastructure. And 70% of citizens that were answering the survey said that we need more green areas and that we need more trees. So all of that together, combined, led to with the support of our mayor, because without that we wouldn't be able to do that. So I do have to mention him. Anyway, we decided to change our urban plans, and we changed the percentage of natural terrain from 20% to 35%. That should have every new plot that is going to be built. And it doesn't matter, is it going to be a public building or would it be a private building? Each of them has to have 35%, and I forgot yesterday to mention that each of them has to have at least 2 new trees. So I hope that, I know that this is the legacy of the REGREEN project, and since we are working on the strategy and we are really done with the strategy of green infrastructure, hopefully it will be accepted on the next council meeting on this Friday. And that strategy is going to be implemented in all our urban plans. That is the legacy of this project in our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordana. So, yeah, it's right. We go to Krakow. Tomasz, you are representing the Sensimir Foundation, an NGO which is working with lots of cities in Poland, and you have been one of the main leading actors in the Krakow case study. So can you just very shortly introduce to us what Clearing House has been doing in Krakow?
Before I will answer or try to answer this question, let me give you a short introduction, because you can ask yourself the question why the representative of the NGO is doing here among the cities. So we are very closely cooperating with the Krakow, with many Polish cities, but especially with the Krakow city, and especially with the ZZM, which is the Polish abbreviation for the Green Space Authority, municipal authority. And as Rick said, we've been trying to help to support Polish city, including the largest Polish city, in innovative, modern NBS management. So we are trying to help the cities to both on the technical part, on the strategical aspects, on the financial aspect, how to build the system of NBS in the cities. And as you know, it's very complex and it's very difficult. And the Krakow is our best partner, the most advanced partner, the most leading city in Poland. So we came here to Clearing House together, and we are trying to implement all, or most at least, products and processes which are taking place in Clearing House. So as you can hear and see yesterday, we were the subject of many models, of many tools. So we are trying to test, to pilot, so to speak, these tools in Krakow. And it's impossible to describe everything, but let me focus on 2. groups, so to speak. So first of all, we decided with the city to focus on the important part of green infrastructure, blue-green infrastructure in Krakow, which is a river parks. There's a quite innovative system of the socio-ecological corridors, which Krakow has been developing for many years along the rivers in Krakow. And somehow, through the project, we were more and more focused on the one of the park, the most wide, so to speak, more natural park, Drinka. And this is the subject of our special, so to speak, attention. So we were doing this co-designing, free co-designing workshops there. We are slowly going to the end with the application My Dynamic Forest, which was presented yesterday. So we are trying to gather information on citizens' perception of this park. So how people use this park, why they like it, why they visit this park, what they don't like. So I think it's quite innovative, even in Krakow, which, as I said, is very advanced. I think it's also, the important element which maybe wasn't taken into account so far. And another project or product which is very important in Krakow, which is not strictly connected to the clearing house, but it wouldn't be possible without clearing house, is the EFUF, which is the European Forum for Urban Forestry, which is was a kind of big event in Krakow. And that's the part of the question, or should I go also to talk about benefits? Or
yeah, well, I was wondering if you now would say, well, there's one or two. Well, let's stick to one item which is really the legacy of Clearing House in Krakow or in Poland, in Polish urban forest management, for instance. What would be the impact of Clearing House in Krakow or Poland?
Let me give a little bit more than one, because I think that it's
No, we only have time for one.
Okay, but what I wanted to say that the benefits, legacy or whatever you call it, is multi-level. So I think that first, on the local level, is very important. We are working with Drinka. We are using Drinka as a case study, so it's important. So let's skip it. There's a kind of obvious. But if there is only one to mention, I think that the city level is very important, because we've got a president who is very active. But the city is not a monolith. There are several departments, silos, so to speak, and very often it's quite difficult. I mean, you don't know, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. So I think that with the Clearing House, we are really trying to connect, to build a kind of intersectoral, interdisciplinary, interdepartmental, difficult word, in Krakow, and include also the other sectors, other departments, like urban planning, like municipal investment, etc., etc. People who are not very familiar with NBS, which are not very familiar with the green ecosystem services, etc. And I think that having such a big international, intercontinental partnership like Clearing House is a very strong leverage point, also to support our colleagues from the to persuade the other players, other partners from the city. I think that's one of the most difficult challenges in Poland, really to build, so to speak, horizontal cooperation without the municipality, within municipality, within the whole city. That's more important. Very briefly, I think the international aspect is very important for city, and also as a chance to show Krakow experience, Krakow achievements on the international market, so to speak, and to the international society community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tomasz. We'll move to Paris region. Gwendolyn, what has been the key impacts of REGREEN?
Many key impacts, in fact, about the REGREEN project, but one of the main impacts is about the work we have done about depaving and renaturing in cities. First of all, I think that the REGREEN project enable us to get to know colleagues from other departments better, from the Institute of Paris region, because we need their expertise for data, GIS, etc. So by involving them into the project, I think they become more familiar with the concept of NBS and depaving and renaturing. So in a certain way, you know, the REGREEN project has helped to raise awareness in the Institute Paris region. And secondly, there was a real expectation about depaving and renaturing in France. Since 2018, the French government announced the non-net long tech objective. So a lot of cities want just to know more about how to depave, how to renature the city. And during the REGREEN project, the Paris Region Master Plan was being updated with a view to achieve this non-net land tech objective, and with a view also to bring more nature into cities. So there was a real expectation to know more about depaving and renaturing. And the REGREEN works could have been used to update the new master plan, and it is a quite huge impact, in fact, because all the cities in the Paris region that covers more than 1,200 cities have to take into account this new master plan into their own planning document. And finally, in addition, in November 2022, the Paris region created a new agency, Île-de-France Nature, in order to accelerate depaving and renaturing in cities. The new agency launched a call for project for cities to help them to depave and renature. They use the REGREEN's work to identify the cities that are priority for the depaving and the renaturing regarding the challenge of biodiversity, climate change adaptation, and health and well-being. And to date, 133 projects have been submitted, and 53 have been accepted. And finally, the last key impact, it's, I think, in terms of raise the awareness about NBS and depaving and renaturing. In the Paris Region Institute, we carried a lot of events to present the project and our work. And in 2023, we organized 10 webinars about depaving and renaturing, 1 training day. We also participate in 21 events organized by our stakeholders to present the project and our results. And we estimated that more than 2,400 people were reached in 2023. So maybe one of the main impact is about the raise of awareness about NBS and depaving and renaturing.
Thank you very much, Gwendolyn, and thank you everybody for all that inspiring thinking, both of what happens inside the organization, what happens outside, and how to grab the opportunities and how to get politicians on board, and that you, non-politicians, can make such a real impact. That's so inspiring. I'd like to open it up to the floor for questions. There's a question down there. I think there's a mic coming your way, so just hang on a second. If you can say who you are, it's on the second row, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm Francesc Baró. I'm professor here at the Free University of Brussels. Thank you for sharing your experiences. My question is, well, I've been involved in NBS projects since already some years. And in most of these projects, there are these co-design processes with cities and stakeholders. But what I found always very challenging in this kind of process is how to make this co-design, co-creation more inclusive. So how can we really involve the, let's say, the people who is, in a way, let's say, the more disadvantaged social groups in the city, which are sometimes it's very difficult to engage them in these kind of processes. So let's say a bit going beyond the usual suspects in this kind of processes. So my question is a bit, what is your experience in that respect? How, if you have managed to create these more inclusive co-design processes, or what do you think could be a way, because it's something that I still struggle in my research and when I'm working with NBS implementation. So yeah, that's my question.
Thank you very much. Anybody takers? Yeah.
That's very good issue, very strong challenge, and the strong part of our activity as the St. Jimmy Foundation is to build a kind of participatory processes, and I very often stress the fact that trees are very attractive. I mean, it's the easiest when you talk with the urban forest. At least in Poland, people are really protesting against cutting. People are really attached mentally, sometimes physically, to trees. So I think that's quite low-hanging fruit. And it's much easier. I was working with, I don't know, wastewater or other much less attractive issues. But to answer your question very, very briefly, I think the key, so you've got people. I mean, they are ready to participate. But the key point, which is quite difficult in Poland, is to give them the clear promise what's going to happen with the result of their work, if you know what I mean. And if you do it, and if you follow, in a sense that they will co-design something, and you, after that, you use their work as much as possible, because sometimes it's difficult, but again, you need to communicate why you didn't do some parts, they will be with you. And the bad thing, which happens very often in Poland, that you are doing the co-design process, social, participatory process, and then, as the city, you do your thing. You know what I mean. You are losing people. They will not come. They will not use your time. So on one hand, I think that's quite easy. It's easy to to get people. On the other hand, you need to, maybe it's a kind of basic thing, but very often in Poland, it's that that for many reasons you are doing a little bit or quite different investment, sometimes for really reason, but you need to communicate, you need to treat your partners quite seriously, or social stakeholders, sorry for the word, seriously. That's mine kind of impression. Thank you.
I would like to add something too, since when you're working in a municipality, you have to give something to the citizens. You have to show them, and you have to educate them, not only us, but them too. We started education first with energy efficiency, and we started educating with citizens in all our settlements, in the whole city, but especially in kindergarten and in elementary school. When we did this in REGREEN, we also did the education in the elementary school, but we also plan to educate citizens in during this and the next year about nature-based solutions, about climate changes. What we have learned is without education, we can't go further. But we do need to hear their voice and to hear what they have to say and what do they think. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't be able to change the urban plan. We wouldn't be able to go further. And now that we did that, every new project that we will make, and that we already did some of the documents, each of them for every next park will be using the NBS solutions. But mostly thanks to the citizens that really said their opinion during the survey we made. Thank you.
Just a short comment. It's really a big challenge. You have to plan ahead. You have to put more effort. You have to have communication strategy to try to address these people that usually don't participate. You usually get people that are very much in favor or very much against, but in our case, there was all this COVID pandemic situation that make it really difficult, although we wanted to do this reach out process. And we had to adapt the way that we designed the workshops. We did a first mapping of actors. We were adjusting them. We were trying to reaching out, but I feel that it's still a big challenge with the question you posed. Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think this is something to be worked on still further. More questions?
Good morning. Richard Hardiman from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. It's actually a similar question. And the two words that come across my mind is mainstreaming and cross-cutting. And what Signe was saying, and Thomas, that how do you bring NBS into projects? And Thomas was saying, well, it's a relatively new concept. It's still an outsider in the periphery. How do we bring it into the center? And I remember in the old days of the European Commission when writing proposals, and it was obligatory, regarding whether you're designing a project for a dam, climate change, education, to put in, for instance, gender mainstreaming. How are you addressing gender equality or environment? And so I'm thinking the same thing here, that when you have municipalities making project proposals, that it becomes obligatory to look at NBS and have it included in a proposal. Now, I mean, it's easier said than done, and I think our friend from Barcelona was saying the same, how do you do it? And I think we need a process of education or training programs on mainstreaming or cross-cutting issues regarding project proposals, whether it be building a new road or a drainage system or whatever, and how do you introduce it? I don't know how you consider this proposal, whether it be of interest, whether it's of importance.
Thank you very much, Richard. So about mainstreaming NBS in all things the municipalities do, would that be
I don't have an answer, but I have some reflections. You are talking about mainstreaming. What we are like meeting when we are, for example, trying to put NBS in our city development projects, and when we are talking with colleagues in the municipality who are selling public areas to developers to earn money to the municipality to cover other welfare areas, which is a good thing. The economic models they use for calculating their benefit does not include anything at all about the benefits from the nature. So I think if we really needed to, I mean, you were talking about NBSs maybe in proposals as far as I understood, but I think that we need a great work in integrating the nature benefits in the economic models in the core of the organization, so to say. And we don't have that in Aarhus municipality. I don't know if everyone, every other has it, but we need it.
Thank you very much. That's a very important part of actually integrating the externalities of developing and getting the opportunity costs in that calculation. Gwendolyn?
For the question, how can we improve the integration of NBS into cities? I think we really need to train people and all departments of a city about what is NBS, because sometimes they just know the term of NBS, but not really the concept, what there is behind the concept about biodiversity, climate adaptation. And we organized some training station in Oreille and Velika Gorica about NBS. And the feedback from the participants was there is a really need to train about it for a better understanding about what it is, but also just to share a common language about NBS. And to convince also about the benefits of NBS and to build a team and constitute a team to improve implementation of NBS project.
Thank you very much. Very short, because we got one last question from Lisa. Yeah.
I have only one sentence. If you put the NBS into your urban plans, then it's obligatory. And that is what we are going to do after this strategy is accepted.
That's great. It's nice to hear these positive notes. It's a question from Lisa.
Yes, thank you. Lisa Tyrväinen, Professor, Natural Resources Institute, Finland. Thank you, very interesting discussion. My question is also about mainstreaming. Maybe we talk a little bit more about that. I wonder, what do you see, who should buy in a city organization, who should buy the idea of bringing nature-based solutions in? Is it city planning? Is it infrastructure sector, or who? Green Space Department doesn't have always so much influence to impact the big planning topics and so on. And the vocabulary seems to be a little bit different also. Some people say that we should talk about infrastructure instead of these nature-based solutions, because that's where you usually invest. And this is an investment for benefit, for future benefit, nature-based solutions. And then the politicians, the policymakers, should we address them? Should we, the research address them directly, or usually the information and the suggestions goes through the authorities, the city planners, authorities for decision making? How do you see this, how the information should be delivered for different actors in this area?
Yes, Gordana, you want to please take it?
Well, I think we started from the bottom down, from the bottom up. And when you ask citizens, and when they tell you that they want more of the green areas, they want more parks, they want more, after you teach them what is NBS, if they say that they are interested, that they want that, you've done everything. What it needs to be done. If they said they want it, then you have to put into your urban plans, your spatial plans, and the municipality will adopt that because the citizens asked for that.
That sounds like a very easy approach. That's really nice. Thank you. Tomáš?
I really appreciated the question of Lisa, because I think it's very complex. Probably also different in different cities or different countries. My short answer would be everybody in the city, which is, of course, utopia. But working with different cities in Poland, the most successful story I know is the medium-sized city or town, and they created the super team, if you know what I mean. It's not in the structure, because if you are in the structure, you always touch only the part of the bigger picture. So they created, just beyond the mayor, the nature-based solution team, so to speak. And they are revising all documents. And very often, city is building the road, and the team responsible for the road, they have no idea about NBS. Or they have their own regulations. They have no time, no space. So city is talking about nature-based solution, and they're building the road, which is completely, you know what I mean, sealed, without water retention, without climate neutrality mitigation, etc. So we need to preach, we need to do what we practice, what we preach, and having this kind of, whatever we called it, I don't know the English good name, but this super team, they take care to spread nature-based solution in all documents and practice, even without calling it nature-based solution, because in Polish it doesn't work at all. We are rather talking about blue-green infrastructure, but nature-based solution sounds in Polish a little bit strange. So, but I think it's just the vocabulary. But the action is very important. So this kind of super team is very important. And what's also very powerful, especially in Poland on our stage, is to do the pilots, the good examples as the city, to build something which is even better than average, more than you expect from the private investor. You are trying to build in the school, in the center, education center, city building, the very complex nature-based solution system, so to speak. So I think that there are two practices, so to speak, which are useful and efficient in Poland. Thank you.
I would like to add something else. When you when what we also learned from this REGREEN project was that you are also talking about the PM 2.5 particulars and about the pollution, air pollution. But we were also working on energy efficiency, on energy transition, which you have to combine. If you combine energy transition with the nature transition, with the green transition, then it's easier to talk about the green transition because they are both connected and you can't talk about one without the other one. And it's easier for everyone to understand that both of them will get better air quality and you will have a more less air pollution. So you have to combine both of them together. And it will be easier for all the people to understand what are you talking about.
Thank you very much. Is there one last comment from Aarhus, Paris, or Barcelona? No, nothing from the online. We're entering our coffee break, but I'd like to thank you very much from Poland, Croatia, Denmark, France, and Spain. So it's really about changing organizations, changing how you work, the regulations, what goes in, the education and training, the ways into the political level to really get impacts gone, and then last but not least, really get the good examples out there in practice. So thank you very much, everybody, also for your questions. We will have half an hour coffee break. At 10:30, we'll go for the parallel sessions. You see them here, social and economic values of nature-based solutions in this main room, on education opportunities, pedagogies, and challenges in the white room downstairs, and practitioners' perspectives working with nature-based solutions in the red room. And then we meet here again for the conference conclusions at 12 o'clock. Thank you very much.